Welcome to the VCS English podcast, the EveryWei podcast. My name is Everyday. With me, as always, is Yulwei and Mabinogi. How are we this fine morning, my dudes?
Sleepy.
Yeah, it do be that way.
What's a 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
So I don't think you guys understand. Once high school was over, I went to be a professional musician. Then I moved into casting. I have not seen a morning for a long time.
I'm just a waste of, air. So, yeah, I don't get up.
So you can see our
how are
Australian
you doing,
boys are actually getting up just to make the podcast possible, because my hours in the week are not very nice to find good times. So, yeah, for me it's not morning, so I'm fine. Thank you for making it possible.
Marby, when are we just going to replace him and just do the Marby Day podcast? Do it at a good time.
When he stops being the smart one.
Okay, so never. Anyway, jokes aside, we are halfway through the VCS.
Not quite, but almost.
Just about. Roughly. Delays in that have made it a little bit weird. But, you know, we're mostly halfway through. Things are not going as we predicted before things began. Did we just go offline? Is my thing lying to me? Did the stream crash?
No, I don't think it did.
Okay, sorry. My chatterino is lying to me then. All good then. I mean, just what are some of your guys' first impressions? Don't go too specific because obviously we have things to talk about, but just some big standout things. Marby.
Promotion tournament means nothing anymore. That's the main one to me. Most of the teams we thought would be... Well, it's mostly just Buffalo. Buffalo looks so much better. GLX looks about as good as we expected.
Yeah, I think GLX is a battle.
But Buffalo just looks so good. And they looked so bad.
Big test.
I don't know, man.
Yulwei, do you have any big takes?
The league is closer together than I expected. I kind of expected a split right after 5th place to have a bottom 3 and the top 5. Maybe a little bit more segregation in the top 5, but I didn't expect all the teams to be this close. Maybe you could make an exception for GAM, because I still don't know if the Team Secret Series was really indicative of their closeness to other teams. But I would just say, looking at the positions in our league, supports and junglers are smurfing and mid laners are underperforming.
Mid lane is bad.
Or mid lane is just bad in our region, I guess. Maybe we don't underperform. We just don't have good mid laners, apart from the top 2, top 3.
I would definitely lean towards the latter. I think mid lane is very, very weak in Vietnam at the moment. I think it's incredibly weak. I think it's by far the weakest role.
Yeah, we have to wait for international competition to actually see if mid lane is just played differently or if our players are actually just worse. I'm not sure. It might also have something to do with the way Vietnamese solo queue is centered around jungle and support. So maybe mid laners just learn the game a little bit differently. We have to see, but it's a weird observation because in almost every other league, mid lane is the premier position, right? If you look at Korea, Showmaker, even still Faker, of course, 𝘁𝗶𝗆, BDD. In EU, there are a lot of good mid laners, and A has kind of the similar symptom right now, where mid lane is not great in an A, apart from the top 4. So I don't know. Maybe it's a meta thing.
I mean, I'm not sure, do they even play Vietnamese solo queue, though? I thought most of the top players were just playing Korean solo queue.
Yeah, we don't know.
Some and some, right? They have obviously most of the time come up through Vietnamese solo queue.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
They learn the game through that. And if you look across at the top in Korean Challenger, it's never the mid laners.
Yeah, I mean, jungle is always inflated impact in solo queue. Like, it's a very impactful role in actual, like, pro games, don't get me wrong, but it's even more impactful in solo queue.
And then it's even more impactful in Vietnam, because all the really, really big players are all junglers, right? All the most famous Vietnamese players of all time, maybe apart from 𝘀𝑇 and 𝘀𝗰𝗋, are all junglers. 𝘂𝐶𝑜𝐹 just got to the World Final, and he's a jungler. So, yeah, I think jungle is just overly focused. And naturally, if you have good junglers, the best teams also have good supports, because support and jungle is so intertwined. So, I think jungle support is just a little bit overly focused in Vietnam right now, maybe to the worsening of the other roles. I don't quite know.
Yeah. I think it's a lot like EU was a few years ago, where everyone wanted to be 𝘁𝗃𝗃 from Alex Mitch. So they were all going hard on mid lane, and so you only ever got like 1 or 2 good AD carries or top laners. And they were usually long-time players like Reckless or Zoas.
It's actually a good point. If you're a young gun Vietnamese player and you've got really good mechanics, you want to be 𝘂𝐹𝑚, you want to be Levi, the really big names. So you're probably going to go into the jungle.
I mean, just look at this.
Or you go into the top lane and throw your career away because you're a top laner.
But just look at this split, right? You have Mabinogi coming in, you have 𝘀𝗰𝗋 coming in, 2 very, very impressive rookies. 𝘀𝗃𝗃 has made such a huge improvement. So all our junglers are very, very good right now. So it's just natural that all the other roles are going to look a little bit bleak in comparison, I guess.
It makes sense. So let's move on a little bit to...
we even forgot Ego, right?
Yeah, Ego, that's a good point. I also saw in chat, top lane feels like an island 90% of the time this season. This season?
In solo queue, you said.
It's been 90% of League of Legends.
Bring me back to season 2 where it was literally an island because no one took fucking teleport.
Yeah, true. We wanted to talk a little bit about MVP kind of thing, because there's different philosophies on MVP. I'm going to let you guys open up the floor. I'll start with you, Yulwei. Who is your MVP so far? And also, you can tell us who, if you want. I'm not sure if we want to reveal it. It's up to you. The voted MVP.
So it's very close on the voted and the votes right now. Usually, people who hard carry their teams are a little bit at an advantage because they get a few points in losing games as well, which kind of was the case here as well. 𝘂𝑇𝑚𝑖s is leading by 3 points in our list right now, but we actually already see like a downward trajectory. He only got 2 points last week and 9 points in the week before, and 22 and 23 points respectively in the first 2 weeks. So still in first place for now, but might change next week, especially because Cerberus only has 1 opponent, and that's SBTC. But regardless, I wouldn't consider 𝘂𝑇𝑚𝑖s my MVP. Interestingly enough, I think last split we all agreed 𝘂𝑇𝑚𝑖s was our mid-split MVP. This split, not so much.
Just quickly, before you go, I should explain. The way we do MVP votes, if you're in our community, you'll kind of know this, but if anyone's watching that's not...
Right, that's
first
important,
off,
yeah.
Hello. After every game, the 3 people who are on the desk, which normally includes the 2 casters, but it's always 3 people, vote. That you give the MVP gets 3 points, the second best player gets 2 points, and the third best player gets 1 point, and it can be either team. It's not uncommon in a very close game for the 2 points to go to someone on the losing team. Most of the time, it's, all 5 points goes to the winning team, but just to clarify, you can get points even when you lose. So that's how we do the voting. That's what we're talking about. It's also where 𝘁𝗀𝗃𝗃 comes from.
Yeah.
Like someone pointed out that must look really mean from the Vietnamese community because like the 3 is like bad. We're actually being nice.
Yeah, it's actually not. It's actually the highest points you can get for 1 game. So
exactly, it's actually really good. But anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just wanted to explain.
Yes, this was a little long-winded. Apologies. I don't know who my MVP is. So we wanted to also discuss the concept of MVP a little bit, and I know you two don't really want to choose a gun player. You can elaborate on that later. For me, I feel like I still want to give it to a gun player because I feel like they are so far. They just lost 3 games last week, of course, but overall, they're so far ahead of the rest of the league that they should be rewarded individually as well. I kind of like to give the MVP to the most impactful / best player on the best team. I think that's a fair way to give MVPs. I can see arguments for like, yeah, without this player, the team wouldn't have succeeded. But then again, the counter argument to that is, if this player is still not the best player in his role, even taking him out of the team and replacing him by the best player in the role would be beneficial for the team. So then I would rather give the MVP to the best player in the role than the second best player who has a higher impact because he plays in the worst team. So that's why I'm leaning 𝘀cie, I think, right now. Even though I don't think 𝘀cie is the best player on GAM, I think that's still 𝘀cie. I think 𝘀cie had the highest impact. He's playing the highest impact role. And yeah, pretty consistent as well. So I think for me it's 𝘀cie right now.
So the way I'm looking at MVP is, and there is 2 ways to look at it. I mean, if you're talking about it in terms of most valuable player, and you take that very literally, I don't think you can give it to a GAM player, just purely because they're all so good. Particularly their
But are you playing about valuable for the team or most valuable of the league?
No, I'm not done.
Okay, sorry.
But I think the thing with GAM at the moment is that there's the other argument for MVP. I don't like best player on best team, because I think if you're on the best team, it makes you look better. But I like the argument of just best player. And kind of think the top 3 best players in the league are all in GAM jerseys split. To be honest, like my mid-split MVP is actually 𝘁cie. That's where I'm leaning. I know. Sorry.
𝘁cie plays set.
I mean, look, we all have our biases. If 𝘀cie picks up Kindred, he can get some votes. Mine's 𝘁cie because it's the flexibility. Yeah, he's not as good on the DL1 champs, but he's still arguably the best mid laner in the league, even when he's playing his second tier of champions. And when he's on his set. Sorry, Marty, go ahead.
Oh, no, he's just straight up the best mid laner in the league, because DL1's fallen off at this point. So
exactly. I think
𝘀cie,
look, again, I think there's arguments to say that 𝘀cie is a better player, and I wouldn't disagree. Like, anyone who is not new to our community knows that we love 𝘀cie. Big fans. Love the guy. I think so far this split, he hasn't actually been the best player on GAM, though. Just because I don't think he hasn't had to do anything. He's just chilling. And yeah, he's super, super consistent. He's very, very good in team fights. But it's not him getting them over the line. If he needed to, he could, but he just hasn't yet.
Yeah, it's in a couple of games. The Malphite game springs to mind, but yeah, I think overall, if you're going to go for a GAM player, it's probably mid jungle. I would lean towards 𝘀cie personally, but my overall MVP is not on GAM because, yeah, they take too much away from each other, and when you are surrounded by the best players, it's much easier to look so good. Meanwhile, on Cerberus, Artemis, yeah, he's got a few good players. 𝘀𝑺 has stepped up massively, but generally he is a one-man army, and he's kept this team in second place. So that's just a really good sign for them. And I think it's a good chunk of that is due to Artemis being the best player in his role by a fair margin because of how far Slade has dropped off.
See,
and yeah,
I think Artifact is the best hard carry ADC player in our league.
Artemis.
But yeah, Artemis, of course. I am not sure if he's actually the best AD carry straight up. So with the meta
think that's
changing
what it is.
towards stuff like Senna and Ezreal, I think Artifact will actually fall off. And we've already seen him fall off a little bit towards the last 2 weeks, where his Xayah, his 𝘁𝗀 are not as prominent anymore. And this is going to be even less so, less so in 11.4. I don't really know if Artemis can... I mean, if we're strictly talking about only the 4 weeks... I can definitely see the argument for Artifact. My God, Artemis. But
Someone change their name, please.
yeah. For me, he hasn't been as consistent as last split, for example. He definitely had his very hard carry performances, especially the one Xayah game comes to mind. Was it against Flash? No, it was earlier in the split. Against BTS, right. They were behind, they should have lost the series even, and then he hard carried his team, collected all the farm, had insane numbers, and just 1v9'd the game basically. So I feel like he knows how to hard carry. He plays a very consistent hyper carry style. Maybe he can pick something like up like the Jinx, like the 𝘁𝗁, potentially later on.
I think Jinx, Caitlyn coming into the meta will be good for.
But yeah, I'm skeptical, and I think his performance hasn't been consistent enough to warrant MVP. But I can see the argument.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing for me is he has kept this team in second place basically single-handedly. It's him and 𝘁𝗶𝗹, but the bot lane is the entire team. They have no top laner. Yada's been kind of inconsistent. 𝘁𝗀 hasn't been bad, but he's 𝘁𝗀. He's not really that superstar jungler. 𝘁𝗀 is... I mean,
he wasn't the jungler they wanted to use this.
Yeah, I mean, through no fault of his own, he's like bottom 3 junglers in the league, and that's not his fault. He's a fine player. It's just the role is so stacked.
Yeah.
So I want to throw
one
more name into the discussion, especially looking at, or maybe 2 names, looking at last week's Player of the Week, 2 contenders. It's still not decided, I think. Artifact, mid laner for Team Secret, and 𝘁cie, the jungler for SGB. Both teams pretty high in the standings, especially Team Secret surging now. Are they contenders too? Can they get the MVP? Or...
Artifact's not. He's too inconsistent.
Not Artifact. No,
Artifact.
Definitely not Artifact.
Team Secret, like, they are just... Like, the secret is that they're all bloody skin changes, and sometimes it's the actual aliens showing up to play and they don't know how buttons work. And then another day, it's humans. Like, they are just, like, a team. They don't make sense.
Artifact
had a cracker of a week last week, but we were calling them Team Slater for a reason.
I think Artifact, like, as a choice for Player of the Week for last week, is cracker. I voted for Artifact, to be clear. I voted for Artifact for sure.
Yeah, it's great week. He was
and
insane.
He did it against 𝘁𝗀. That's what pushed it over for me, is that he did it against 𝘁𝗀. But you know, bloody...
There are 3
the
weeks
whole split?
Before,
yeah, there were 3 weeks before that where it was Team Slater and they were losing it every game. So
that's fair. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. It's about consistency too. We're not only looking at MVP points, where Artifact is actually very high, because of course, if you're very inconsistent and you smurf half the games, you actually get MVP points for half the games. Well, no one can deduct MVP points, right, for the bad games. So it makes a lot of sense to me. What about 𝘁𝗀?
Sometimes.
I don't like 𝘁𝗀 is very good. We don't put out the complete MVP standings. We just give you guys little tasters of what's going on, so you guys don't get to see. You don't know who is winning as we go until we tell you. So yeah, you just get little tasters. But yeah, actually, you're in the broadcast Discord. You actually could see them. 𝘁𝗀 is really, really good. I mean, he's like the 3rd best in his role. I don't think you can give him MVP.
Yeah, I think that's the problem there, right?
Buffalo's interesting.
He's good. I think he's great, but I just...
Yeah, I think everyone on Buffalo is playing quite well, but they're meshing together extremely well, making that sort of greater than the sum of their parts sort of thing. No individual player besides a couple of like individual games, or in this case, week for 𝘀cie and 𝗃𝗀, they don't really stand out as like MVP material. They're just a really, really good unit. It's I can't really think of a good.
That is a hot take in chat.
I can't think of a good analogy at the moment, but I think maybe Rox is a decent analogy because I don't think Rox was realistically the best in each role, but they merged together really well.
I think 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 players have, if they keep this performance up, of course, we are only in week 4, or we are going to move into week 5, so still a lot of split left, but if they can keep this performance up, or maybe even get better, reach playoffs in their rookie split, then I think a lot of the 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 players have a chance at top 3, so all pro teams. So like 𝗃𝗀 right now would definitely be in the top 3 for me. 𝘀cie for sure. Even 𝘀cie, I think for me, definitely. He had some very good performances. I'm actually a big fan of 𝘀cie. I think he gets overlooked a little too much. I think he's a very aggressive rookie ADC. Very good to see his gameplay.
𝘀cie, like, it instantly makes me go, no, that can't be right. But thinking about it, like Artemis, Celebrity maybe, Koro would be my 3 sort of, maybe these 3 above him, but I mean, yeah, it's
I do think ADC has been pretty bad this split. I mean, again, like, if we're talking about this player has performed well, and compared to my expectations of them, they've been fantastic, chuck 𝘀cie in there, 100%. Chuck basically all of 𝘁𝗶𝗃 except maybe Husband. But just not MVP. Second or third all-pro team, aces, but like Levi exists. Sorry, 𝗃𝗀. Sorry, 𝗃𝗀. You're really good, but you also play jungle in Vietnam, so suck shit.
I mean, if 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 were to win against 𝘀 off jungle diff, like 2-0 in week 7 against 𝘀, where 𝗃𝗀 completely smurfs on Levi, and he also keeps up his performance that in other games, and 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 finished 2nd or something, then I could actually see myself voting for 𝗃𝗀. But he needs to outperform Levi in game.
And if I sprouted wings, Rakan could call me dad.
And with that, we should move on.
Just before that, even though that would have been a great place to end it, low-key, 𝘀gie, the best mid laner in Vietnam. Just
right.
He's learned how to CS.
Uninhibit the ribbit.
Exists, Marby. 𝘀cie is in Vietnam.
Yeah, but have you considered 𝘀gie? Ribbit.
No, you're not getting.
Ribbit.
I'm not letting that happen. So let's move on to a couple.
CS.
Kind of in like 1 or 2 games, but anyway, let's put the topic to bed.
DR1 in lane. Fuck you.
He did, but I think DR1's been pretty shit this split.
Okay, let's move on.
Moving swiftly on, Marby, stop trying to bloody apply the anchor.
Ribbit.
We can move on to some like just like sort of quick fire topics. Is the biggest surprise, and I'm gonna say only one of us is allowed. I'm gonna say only one of us is allowed to say 𝘁𝗶. Which one of us is it gonna be?
Ribbit.
Who's okay? Marby, you.
Marby's already talking about them, so.
Yeah.
Ribbit.
Right, talk about 𝘁𝗶. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's just all the players stepped up massively from the promotion tournament. 𝗃𝗀 and 𝘀cie in particular. I mean, 𝗃𝗀 looked pretty good in the tournament itself, and was basically one of the only reasons they qualified. But the bot lane in particular, 𝘀cie, we were ready to just shit on all split long because he was absolutely fucking garbage. Really has showed up massively. But my biggest improvement is 𝘀𝗀𝗀. He for the first part of the split was still struggling with the whole CS thing, but he is absolutely one of the best. Has absolutely some of the best map movements of mid laners from in the region. I think he outshines 𝘀cie in that aspect as well. And now if he's learning how to CS, okay. Let me qualify. 𝘀cie on set? No. 𝘀cie on everything else? Yes.
Okay. Well, let's.
𝘀cie set is like, it's like 𝘀cie set, 𝘀gie, the rest of 𝘀cie. Then.
I think you are very, very involved in the 𝘀gie narrative.
Ribbit. No. Look, he's great.
He's good. He's massively improved. I don't disagree with that. I just think putting him on, he's as good as 𝘁𝗏 is a little bit like, oh, okay.
I mean, that
down.
that is in that one aspect. I think if you put like standard control mages that just sit mid, 𝘁𝗏 will be a better thing. But in terms of map movements and roaming around, I think that's 𝘀𝗏𝗺's wheelhouse, and he shows up better in that case. As an overall mid laner, yeah, 𝘁𝗏𝗏's actually better, taking it seriously. But that is definitely 𝘀𝗏𝗺's wheelhouse. Those map movements, those understanding when to rotate, how to use the teleports. That's just where his wheelhouse is. That is a big part of 𝘀𝗏𝗺's success.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with it. I think 𝘀𝗏𝗺 is very good. And he's definitely a surprise. Because he was part of the reason I thought 𝘀𝗏𝗺 was going to be crap. But he's been good. Yeah,
so,
I agree with that.
Who's your surprise? Who or which team, I guess?
Let's stick to positive surprises for now, because we'll do disappointments after. Mine... God, if we have to stick to positive, I've pigeonholed myself. I'm actually going to say 𝘀𝗏, because they are so much better than I expected. I was, you know, the edgy one that actually predicted 𝘀𝗏. I think I predicted them third in power rankings.
Yeah.
Part of it was me.
We should have made a bet about this.
We should have. We definitely should have. Part of it was definitely meme value because I'm not an analyst. I don't have to be smart, but part of it was definitely like serious analysis as well. And I was wrong. Their bot lane really, really showed up, and that's what I didn't expect that. I thought, you know, he was going to shit the bed. I thought 𝘀𝗏 was going to be dog shit, but he's actually been okay. Been pretty good, in fact. And their top side is actually unbelievable. 𝘁𝑇i might be playing some of his best league. And that's ridiculous.
Way more disciplined than before.
Yeah.
Like, he was always a very mechanically proficient player, but he has shown some restraint we haven't seen in a while. Like, one of the big reasons 𝘀𝗏 didn't win Spring, especially last year, I think in summer Flash was just the better team. But in Spring, I think 𝘀𝗏 was heavily favored to win the title. And some of their downfalls were just lack of discipline. Like the game 5, where they were 5-6k ahead of Flash at 20 minutes, pushing inhibitors, and he just sprints it down with Shyvana. That's not going to happen this split, I feel like. He's much more disciplined. Maybe it's 𝘁𝗏𝗏, maybe it's B, who knows? Maybe it's a new coach.
Maybe it's losing 2 splits.
Yeah, true. That as well.
Like, it's very easy to get complacent when you're sitting on the throne, when you're the big dogs, but they lose 2 splits in a row. Like, you know, had COVID not happened, they would have missed an international appearance completely, MSI, and they would have only been in play-ins at Worlds. So I think that was a bit of a wake-up call that there's actually a team in the league that can beat you now. Of course, Flash is now gone. There was a team in the league that could beat you, and I think they're playing absurdly well. Like, 𝘀𝗏 is just ridiculous. Like, Team Secret took a game, and I know people are like, oh, it's just because of the bug. It's just because of the bug. Fuck off, it's not.
Game one was mostly legit.
Game 1 was 100% legit. I still think
99%
you're wrong
legit.
saying that fight was heavily influenced. If you look at when the fight actually broke out, 𝘀𝗏 had completely retaken control of the river.
Yeah, 𝘀𝗏 had completely taken control of the river. That's the problem. They had control. They had to give it up because 𝘀𝗏 had to go back. I don't think it's a massive factor.
I'm saying when the fight broke out, after 𝘀𝗏 was back, they had control of the river again. No,
they
did. The fight broke out.
Okay.
The fight broke out where the river hit.
We should not dwell on this.
Secret was retreating.
I think there was some. It was definitely one of the weakest games from 𝘀𝗏. Just looking at all their games this split. In terms of execution after an early game lead. But yeah, I'm not sure if the bug actually led to... I kind of feel like the bug kind of tipped it over.
Yeah.
I think the bug had quite a bit of an impact, but yeah. We don't know. We can't go back in time. So
I heavily disagree. I think Team
they were 5K up
winning.
before he bought the GA. So
yeah, they were 5K up and losing team fights. Just saying.
The big issue in that game one was the Elder Dragon Baron play.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
a really big fumble. Yeah.
That is the main thing that lost them the game. I think they would have had a better chance to get their way back in without the bug, but
also
then game 2, it's really fucking hard to play when your 3-bear's down. Well, they did just play that game really badly though, and that might have just been tilt.
I mean, game 2.
Like tilt.
Yeah, game 2. I think you can definitely read a lot of tilt.
I mean, and even with the lost series, they're still going to end this first half of the split 6-1, which is still very strong, right? So
BTS.
Yeah, BTS. So their last game is BTS, which shouldn't be a problem. Player diff is just a little too big there, especially in mid lane. Yeah, probably because it's BTS. Yeah, it's confirmed already. 2-1. Yeah, you can make your bets. If Gun wins the first game, that's the secret bet move, by the way, to go for BTS. That's a big payout.
Who's your big surprise then, Yulwei?
Definitely all the players from 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀, but we already touched on them, so can't go with them. Positive surprise, right? So
I've got one if you can't think of one.
All the support players, actually. Just the support position as a whole. If I have to narrow it down, I think 𝘀𝗀𝗀 in particular. I think he has been quietly smurfing on BTS, and it's very sad to see him lose so many series, but 𝘀𝗀𝗀 has actually been super impressive on REL. I think overall, globally actually, supports right now get overrated because people see the cool engages and think to themselves, wow, they carried the game, when it's actually pretty easy to do. It's not actually that hard to do the engages with REL. I just pulled it off back-to-back yesterday, and my mechanics are not the greatest. So yeah, I think people overrate supports right now for their engages, because engage supports are not actually that hard to play, guys. So, but still, I feel like 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 is very impressive. So
I'm just bad at Leona.
I guess I'll go with him.
That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the other thing about 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 is we do see him switch mode quite a lot, even though he's picking similar champions. Like, he's playing a lot of the Galio, a lot of the REL. Then again, if REL's available and you don't pick it, just why are you even playing? Just surrender. Currently in professional play. But he also switches his modes, even on those champions. Yeah, he is playing the sort of easy version where you just engage, you look very, very flashy, but he actually plays a lot of bodyguard on those supports as well. And that's harder.
Yeah, he played a Seraphine game as well. He had very impressive Galio performances, so he's switching it up.
Mostly the Galio, I'm thinking. He plays a lot of bodyguard Galio.
Which is how you should play Galio. From support.
Mostly, yeah. So yeah, I think he's my pick. Maybe a little bit of a surprising one, but yeah, I think 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 as a whole is still also a very positive surprise, and I hope they continue to surprise us positively, especially 𝘁𝗀𝗃 and 𝗃. So.
Yeah. So let's move on to the negative side of the discussion, the biggest disappointment. And I'm going to call dibs on going first. You know who I'm going to say. All of SBTC. If you don't care about winning, stop playing and just leave, please. That's my message to all of SBTC. Yeah, if you don't give a shit, fuck off and let another team play. Thank you.
I think the mid jungle is the biggest.
Yeah, because they don't give a shit.
They're the imposters, by the way. 9th, 6th in games.
D1 checked out all of last split, and we kind of forgave him because there was some out-of-game issues with Garm, and I didn't blame him. I would have checked out that split as well. But those issues don't exist anymore, mate. You want to earn that paycheck, or are you just going to keep being crap? Is that what's going to happen? You're 4-2. You should be 2-4.
I think the upcoming game, maybe even our game match of the week. I don't know if you have decided on one yet, but I feel like Cerberus against SPTC, end of last game of round 1 for them, is a very big match coming up on Friday. So this one, it's a good candidate. I feel like this could really shape the narrative and also just the perspective on both of these teams. Cerberus trying to get their new players in for round 2. It's their last series they have to play in round 1. And SPTC so far looking kind of shaky and still sitting at 4-2. They could end with 5-2, which would put them in second place firmly over 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀𝘀. So this is an important one. If SPTC loses against Cerberus, I think we all can agree that they underperformed compared to expectations. If they win with 5-2, I think it's kind of hard to argue.
I mean, in terms of results, they got roundabout where we expected them, but that's their level of play is absolutely not what we hoped. 𝘂𝗏 has actually improved from last split, so I have to say huge shout out to 𝘂𝗏. The bot lane hit or miss, but they've been mostly hitting. Yijin and Dia, mostly Dia, in fact, just not. Well,
see, Dia one looks checked out, and that annoys me because he's a good player.
Yeah, I'm really not impressed with those two. It's their conduct more than their gameplay itself, but it feeds into the gameplay, so I just kind of over those two.
I don't want to speculate too much on behind the scenes. Yeah, we hear a lot of things, but we don't speak Vietnamese, so we often can miss nuance. So I don't want to speculate on those things too much. But there's some behind the scenes things that makes them very easy to dislike. And then you watch them on the Rift, and it's like SBTC. I was worried because they're a streamer team. They're picked up by a streamer, and from what I understand, they're the streamer that they picked up is he's not popular because he's really good at League of Legends. He's popular because he's a personality, which is not to shit on him, by the way. That's a good type of streamer. But the issue with that is when it translates into the professional team. That's great for Twitch, and that's really fun to watch. It's not fun to watch when you're watching a professional team, and it feels like there's no discipline on that team, and I hate it. I hate it.
At least they bring the best possible name to us, right? The Super Big Time Chicken is amazing, so thank you for that. Are they going to get grilled by the hellhounds of Cerberus? Who knows?
Ooh, exciting. So, Marby, who's your biggest disappointment?
Team Flash.
Yeah.
Team Flash.
Yeah, it's the easy one.
I'll save Yulwei's Twitter moment. I'll leave him his Twitter moment. But yeah, no, Team Flash has just been shocking. They look slightly better with Stark. They look like they have a bit more direction, which I pointed to as this is the main thing they're lacking. They're really lacking direction. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 seems completely checked out, which sucks because he was meant to be the captain of this team. Yoshino's looked fine, but Meliodas, 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗀, they look much worse than they should have been. Turns out 𝘁𝗏𝗏 was just dog shit, which, I mean, I don't think even Yulwei expected that bad.
Nah, I can't claim that. I expected him to be bottom tier mid laner, but not VCSB level, right? So,
yeah, so it's really upsetting because I like a lot of the players on that team, but it's just not coming together at all. And they have been mildly inconvenienced, so Stark has been brought in as a substitute. That's it. It's just depressing to look at Team Flash.
Yeah, for me, it's once again kind of hard to decide because you took the easiest ones away. I mean, Team Flash is just obvious. I think
you're meant to be smart.
I think if I had to choose a player, I would probably go with either Glory, Sorn, or Shine. That's a lot of focus on G Media Luxury, which might be a little bit unfair. Yeah, I like all the Flash players, of course, Meliodas, 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀, 𝘀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀 especially, but you just touched on them, so I guess I'd say 𝘀cie, especially in the light of 𝘀់_cia𝗶𝗹𝗀, 𝘁𝗀, and 𝘁𝑎 actually looking super good this split. 𝘀់_cia improved massively. 𝘁𝗀 is still just a rock in the bot lane, and 𝘁𝑎 looking like one of the better supports in the league. And then 𝘀rie, I mean, if 𝘀rie was performing as he was in this rookie split, if he was coming in and contesting for top 3, maybe top 4 of mid laners, then this team could actually make waves, could actually fight for players. But instead, their solo laners are just outclassed every single match. And they end up losing all the time. So, yeah, I'm very disappointed in 𝘀rie not actually growing into a stronger mid laner. He seems to be very streaky, very dependent on champions. His Zoe is great, his if he actually decides to pick it. For some reason, he doesn't. And everything else seems to be meh. So yeah, I think 𝘀rie is a big disappointment for me. Maybe just rename to 𝘀rie and drop the other Y, because it hasn't worked out for you since you added the second Y.
I don't know. I think it's fitting because I say a lot of the time, 𝘀rie, why?
Fair. That's actually yeah, but maybe that's something to consider as 𝘀rie. So maybe drop the Y so we can actually see 𝘀rie in its whole glory.
Yeah, that would be good. Let's get our way out of the muck of disappointments, and just kind of talk about how we feel about the VC. Are you satisfied? And I think another question I'm going to add to that, so you've got to answer both, is in terms of performing internationally, are we better off or worse off
than last summer?
Than we were, let's say summer, because I don't really remember spring as well.
Ooh, that's a hard one. So, first question, I'd say I'm actually more satisfied than I expected to be. I think the level of play, especially from the bottom tier teams, 𝘀 not withstanding, because 𝘀 is a mess. Everyone else actually looking better and more competitive than expected. I feel like we see nice games. We see some good adaptations, especially from the rookie teams, 𝘀𝗶𝗵𝗀 coming to mind. We see some very clean snowballing from 𝘀 and Team Secret. When Team Secret decide to play like one of the best teams, they actually are very, very clean at snowballing games. So, two important aspects I like to see a lot. We are an aggressive region, the most aggressive region, so getting early game leads internationally is possible for us. We can cheese, we can maybe even just play our style. So the most important part is being good at snowballing and transitioning the lead from early game to mid game to close out the game before we hit the scaling marks where the international teams might have more experience. So I think 𝘀 and Secret especially are on a good way to be strong contenders later on in the year at Worlds. But we had very strong teams last split, so I am not sure about the second question. I feel like 𝘀 has a higher ceiling than internationally. Probably.
The way I see it, I'll just answer the second half of the question. I'll give my opinion on the actual VCS after Marby, but I feel like we're better suited for MSI.
Yeah.
We're worse suited for World.
I think that's
because I feel like 𝘀 is. I think they have a lower floor than 𝘀.
Oh, for sure.
Much lower floor, but I think they have a higher ceiling, and I feel like your ceiling is what matters as a minor region at international tournaments. If you play at your floor, you lose. It's just the fact. Yeah, if you don't play your absolute best on the day, you lose. Okay, whatever. That's just the reality. But if you play at your ceiling. You play at your ceiling.
Yeah, you have to be absolutely nuts to win with your floor.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we saw Top last year play at their floor. They still hit semis.
And Top was ridiculous.
Nuts team.
That's a ridiculous team. We're not comparing 𝘀 to Top. But right. I mean, let's think about World. Let's think about us MSI. G2 is probably going, so that's a win for 𝘀.
I like it.
Yeah, I think has a pretty good run at MSI. Like, it's not easy. It's bloody hard to win MSI, but we're not win. Not gonna win it. Let's be real here. But take some games. It's not easy, but I think GARM could do it. I think Worlds we are worse off because I think our second team is weaker than GARM was last split.
I'm not actually sure I agree with that. I feel like...
You gotta remember our second team is SBTC.
I don't think SB... I mean, right now, maybe... I think Secret... Yeah, fair enough. But no, actually Cerberus is ahead of them. They have one more win. So, yeah, I think Cerberus would be the second. I think Cerberus or Secret could be good teams at the end of the year. Maybe even Saigon Buffalo, who knows? Maybe something amazing happens.
To be fair, I was approaching the question as, let's say World starts tomorrow.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah, then that's true.
If you want to approach it in a different way, that's fine. If you want to approach it in that way, go ahead. That's just how I approach it.
Yeah, because I feel like last year's GARM was dangerous for play-ins. I think they would have stomped some teams in play-ins, but they would have hit a wall in groups. I think the better teams would have been able to figure out their flaws, their inconsistencies, their undisciplined nature with Dia1, for example, with Levi playing very undisciplined in summer. So I feel like GARM was not actually that great for group stage success. They would have been an annoying team to play, and I think they would have made group stage. So that's maybe better than some of the teams this year, maybe, I'm not sure. But with the...
better than Mad Lions.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like once again, if we look at ceiling internationally, there could be a better team this year, or a better two teams. If GARM keeps up their improvement, and then maybe we add Team Secret, we once again have the super strong bot lane. We have, imagine Artifact hits his a good week, and maybe Coated figures out his shit. I think Team Secret could be an interesting team internationally as well. Because they have a good coaching stuff as well, and they understand meta and like macro concepts quite well.
Secret is just so... Like, I know I was saying, well, you have to play at your ceiling, so that's when I'm rating it off. Yeah, okay, but, you know, GARM hits their ceiling, 85% of the time. Secret hits it 15% of the time.
Yeah, Secret is...
The ceiling is there. I agree. It's there, but they do not get up there much.
There's ceiling, and then there's realistic ceiling.
Yeah,
there's
that's fair.
potential, and then there's ceiling. I suppose, because the potential of Secret is insane. It's absolutely nuts. But their ceiling is more what they're realistically hitting. That's more often than not, they're just kind of okay from what they've been showing. So
that's fair.
In terms of my answer to the question,
go ahead.
It's been very entertaining It's been very entertaining, basically. I've been happy with it from an entertainment point of view, but from a gameplay point of view, I'm not terribly excited for the VCS. I think VCS is gonna just spend another year firmly in 6th place as far as regions go. I think PCS is the top of PCS is better than the top of VCS quite easily.
Really?
GARM, I think, would be like top 2, top 3 in PCS. I think like PSG is nuts. J Team kind of letting me down, but I think their potential should be higher than GARM's. Beyond Gaming has been a nice surprise. So I think basically when it comes down to the fact that realistically these are one-team regions, PSG should shit on GARM. I think they have been performing insanely well. I think Shortcut is good, but Maple looks like the Maple we all know, or we all wanted from Flash Wolves days. So I think GARM's going to do fine at international tournaments, but I think it's just going to be another Vietnamese 6th place sort of situation.
Not the most glowing outlook, but perhaps the most realistic one.
Most realistic.
One day we'll break that PCS loyalty out of you.
That's never happening. Sorry, man.
We'll whip it out of you.
Never happening.
I mean, the big question is: are we going to international tournaments?
Please.
I really
hope
so.
But MSI still.
I mean,
Up in there.
I don't know. Look,
Let's just all pray
to
for
be
it.
honest, I'm gonna be I don't want to like dwell on it because it's just speculation. But like, if they're not going to MSI when it's bloody Iceland, all right, just sink Vietnam if that's how you want to deal with the virus. Just sink the whole island. Well, it's not an island, but sink
The whole island, just or Eurasia.
It's not an island.
Sink the entire island that is continental Asia.
And Europe.
And Europe.
Gotta go with it. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
And Africa, they are joined by the Middle
True.
East.
Yeah, true.
Just
Just sink everyone,
like
except
90%
Australia.
of the world.
Oh, man.
I chose a poor verb. there.
Noun, I think, is the one you're going for.
Sink is a verb.
Yeah, but you said island.
Island
and island
was the
issue.
problem in the sentence, I think.
There were two problems in the sentence. I'm a problem child. What can I say? So let's talk a little bit about some of our favorite plays so far. We don't have clips prepared because we're not all.
No, not good.
But do you guys have any like to think about? You know.
No, I can't think of any.
Really? I can think of a couple.
I can. Okay, I know there were definitely plays that I got really excited about at the time, but none are springing to mind. That's it.
I think we've had some very fun 𝘁cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀𝘀 plays. I'm not going to point
No.
out any one in particular. What are you talking about?
It has 𝘁cie in it, therefore it is not fun.
That's not fun to play. It's fun to watch. You don't
No,
have to
it's
play
not. It's not. I hate 𝘁cie. Terrible champion. Delete it.
So I remember some of the early games from 𝘀𝗀 where they played Lilia. Those were some very good Lilia games. We had Levi finally going to the champion, and he smurfed it on those Lilia games. He actually played 4 games already. Let's see which one I meant. But yeah, just the 𝘀𝗀 games early on in the split were amazing. They performed out of their minds. The first, just overall the game, the first Team Secret game, especially because it cursed them afterwards. It was so funny.
Yeah,
it was one of my favorite moments.
Play is Yulwei's Twitter.
They absolutely smurfed on them in 24 minutes. They looked insanely good. I got hyped for them against 𝘀𝗀, and then they just proceeded to shit the bed the next few series. That was amazing. That was the Twitter play. Better than any in-game.
But yeah, I think there's been a lot of very fun plays. We've had so many quadra kills, haven't quite gotten to the pentakills yet. But it's been a good time. And Yulwei, I think you have our favorite play prepared. Do you want to roll that one?
Yes.
We have had
this
2
was.
pentakills, by the way.
Oh, we have had 2 pentakills. You are right. They just blend in.
Celebrity and Go. Of course, it's celebrity, by the way.
Go ahead and roll the clip of the worst play I've ever seen.
It sadly reset in time, so I actually have to.
Oh, that's
For
annoying.
some reason,
And
OBS wanted to troll me, but I know where the timestamp is, so.
Good job.
Disrupt Go to over engage. there. Something Gragas can do very So, easily. yeah, especially
Uh,
do we
oh,
want those 6 to Gragas, of listen course,
uh,
to it again, or do we actually A big want misplay to, for Palette, but still just, nicely set up from
uh,
𝘁𝗀𝗃 𝘁𝗀
uh,
and and SGB bot lane as a whole. So
think
this
it's fun.
Gragas
Just play
early
with the
pick
cast.
into 𝘁, or into the anticipated 𝘁, I should say, into the bait 𝘁. Actually
Yeah,
working well,
our
and
live
𝘁𝗀 once again
live.
showing us why he's a contender for best support in the league right now.
Yeah, and really good to see. This is probably one of the
Shelly
most
Bargain.
veteran supports in the league, up against a rookie. And so far, the rookie is coming out very far on top. The Shelly Bargain, as you said.
Wait, it's
not
still
bad,
alive. Look at the map, it's still alive. It took them
It's just gone
forever.
down. Yeah. Oh no.
How many plates did 𝘁𝗰𝗃? Oh my god, this is one. Oh, this is a very bad trade. This is
Yulwei,
the
I'm
worst
gonna
trade
make
in
you
the
a
history
deal.
of trades.
Your way. My name is Team Flash. I'm going to make you a deal. I'm going to trade you my best prize-winning cow for your beans.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's basically what they just did. And not even magic beans, so I don't even go get to see a giant.
So-
this is shocking.
Yeah,
He's still here, by the
I
way.
just want to explain why this is a bad
gets the
play
tower.
again. So not only does Variety get the tower, which is this is worse than it should be. This is way worse than the whole play should be. This should actually be a game-ending mistake, by the way. So if 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 plays it correctly, this is so much gold, so much experience in favor of variety compared to 𝘀𝗀. It's first tower against the Herald team. So this should be a game-ending mistake. Let's see if they can actually clean out the game or execute the game cleanly later on. But why was this a big mistake? So they swapped their bot lane into an already set up push from 𝘁𝗱. Oh, this is dangerous. Yep, but the free flash.
It's all right. I would have taken over, but I knew the Malphite ult was up.
Yeah, so they wanted to make the first move on Herald, but they had a bad lane positioning in bot lane, so 𝘁𝗱 got to stack waves and push into the turret, and only the support from 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 swapped top, while the whole bot lane from Flash swapped top, giving variety free waves to farm, the turret to push, and of course denies a lot of experience to 𝘀𝗀 as well. So while they get the turret in the end with the Herald here, and the Herald in the first place, they lose so much time, so much experience, and they actually lose the turret too, while also losing the dragon on the other side of the map. So they actually lost absolutely everything, and 𝘀𝗀 is so much worse for where after the whole play.
They might not even get the tower.
Oh.
No, they don't get it. Husband's here in time.
Yeah, and they're too tanky. 𝘁𝗁 can't dive this. The 𝘁𝗁,
the wave is clear. Yeah, they don't have the Malphite ult, so they can't engage, but they don't get the tower yet. They're having to bring Stark down, so more resources being committed.
These are tanks. You don't deal damage to them.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Go in. That's a good start there. They're charging on in. There's the lilting lullaby. 𝘀𝗀 charging in. Doesn't have the style meter charged up quite yet. Very, very low teleport.
Look at the top turret. Look at the top turret.
The top tower's going down. Oh my word. Oriety is just saying, did enemy DC?
What is happening?
PvE, sorry.
What is happening?
Oriety's just doing his world quests. He's not even queuing up for a dungeon.
Please give us the goal totals. This has to be one of the biggest ADC goal differences with a same kill score ever. He just got how many plates? I think you got 5 full plates in bot lane, plus first turret bonus, and 4 of these plates were solo plates. Then he just got at least 3 plates in top lane, plus the solo turret going down. Wow! 8,000 gold. He's 3k gold! So, every day, we flamed 𝘀𝗀 a whole lot, but apparently, Flash was also holding head. Apparently, Flash was also hold a great.
Welcome back. Everyone have fun? That was ooh, the 𝘀𝗰𝗶 bargain, as we call it. That was more the 𝘀𝗀 shakedown.
The 𝘀𝗀 catastrophe, as I like to call it. Yeah, that was potentially the worst macro play I've ever seen in a professional game. That was quite something from Flash.
They're very good at business. That was the best trade deal in all trade deals.
That was a businessman doing a business. Oh my!
Imagine being 𝘀𝗀 in that game. Holy moly! So, if you're a 4-team pre-mate, if you're a 4 pre-mate team and you need an AD carry, and you don't like your AD carry, that's how you grief your AD carry without him getting killed. That's how you ultra grief your AD carry.
Some very good soft inting. Normal Summoner's Rift experience. Not report. I think we can start to wrap it up. We've talked about most of the things we wanted to cover. We sort of covered the whole contender pretender thing. I think we've got there. Overall, I do think the VCS has been fun. And that's what we come to this region for, right?
I have an idea.
Issues at the moment. Do tell.
On how to close this one out. So we are not even at the halfway point. So it's very early and it's very risky, of course. And I mean, no one can really discredit these predictions. But I want to end on, if you agree, predicting the final matchup. Maybe even with the game score, if you're feeling fancy. But just the final matchup right now, or at the end of spring, of course.
Right. So playoff finals.
Yeah, playoff finals.
SGB 3-0. Calm win.
SGB makes finals.
I think so.
Holy, I like it.
This is where I want to add some spice.
Go ahead.
because it's quite likely that in a couple of weeks, me and Marby will be close enough to fuck with each other.
Oh no.
So this is where we add a bet.
Oh no. Oh no.
We just we'll need to figure out some stakes. We'll work stakes out and come back to you. But
Steaks are expensive. I don't know if you've checked the price of meat recently, but
I mean the vampire killing type. But so you're
are they not
saying
the same?
you're saying 𝘀𝗰 beat SGB 3-0 in the finals. I'm gonna say 𝘀𝗰 beat Secret 3-0.
Okay, so
Secret's trash.
I get the third
So,
choice, which is the
You
team
get a
I...
third.
Yeah, I would say 𝘀𝗰 wins against 𝘬𝘂𝗃. 3-1 in the final.
Okay. So whichever one is closest of us wins the bet. And
Basically,
more importantly,
whoever gets to finals.
Yeah, true. And SBTC makes finals. That would be
I will add
hilarious.
this. I will add this.
Just if that's the case.
We'll come up with a forfeit, but I will amend my bet. I'll let you guys have the analyst bet of who makes final. I will amend my bet, and again, we'll come up with stakes. If SBTC make finals,
Oh no.
I'll do a forfeit. Because I
Nice.
think they're that bad. I
That's
think
funny.
there is a 0% chance.
Aggressive.
We'll figure out stakes. We didn't plan this before we started, but we'll work it out. We'll update everyone. With that, I think we can call it an end of this episode of the EveryWei podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's a good source for general banter and shit talk about the VCS. We hope you enjoy it. As always, my name has been Everyday. With me has been Mabinogi and Yulwei. See you this Friday.